So today we'll be studying about spectral properties of normed spaces, and we'll see some basic concepts related to that. So first of all, let us assume that x, which is not identically equal to 0, is some complex normed space having infinite or finite dimension. It could have any dimension. So in the very starting, we are not specifying what dimension it is having. So corresponding to this space, we may define some operator capital T, which is taken from the domain of T to X, where this T is a linear operator. Then we may define another operator, which is T lambda. So it depends upon lambda. So that means whenever you change this lambda, the operator is going to change. Right? And what is lambda here? It is some complex number. We initially do not know what this complex number is. And what is I here? This is the identity operator, which is defined on the domain of T. So we by definition define this T lambda as T minus lambda I, right? So now corresponding to this operator T lambda, we may define another operator R lambda T. So here lambda is the subscript of this R and T represents, it is the operator related to T. So we may define the inverse operator of T lambda as R lambda T, which is defined by T lambda inverse, and which is basically the inverse of this operator. Right? And this operator, this is known as resolvent operator of T. So this is the definition, and you should remember it, that R lambda that is T inverse, and it is the resolvent operator of T. Now why we are assigning the name resolvent to this operator? So that is the next question. It is because being the inverse operator, this resolves the equation and provides the solution to the problem. Suppose we are having this problem T lambda x is equal to y, because our operator T, that is from d of T to x, right, where what is d of T? That is the domain of x only. So we are saying this operator acts on x, which is equal to y. So y belongs to x, this small x belongs to the domain of T, and T lambda is the operator. Now here we wanted to solve this equation. In order to solve this equation, what do we require? We require to calculate x from here. We have the operator with us, we have the values y with us. So how do we retrieve this x? So that is obtained when you multiply on both sides by T lambda inverse. So what is T lambda? We just have defined this to be the resolvent vector for T. So therefore this operator is useful when you wanted to solve this equation. Therefore this resolves the problem of obtaining x from the equation T lambda x is equal to y. So therefore we use the name resolvent here, and moreover the operator is resolvent operator, right? So in short, sometimes we also use only the word resolvent here. So instead of saying resolvent vector, we say resolvent of T, and instead of writing R lambda T, it is obvious that this is the R lambda T is inverse operator to T lambda. So therefore sometimes we in short write R lambda instead of R lambda T. So next question is, why all these operators in the spectral theory they are required? They are required because in order to have understanding of about the operator T, so we must know about various properties which this operator T exhibits, so that we may understand the operator T in a much more better way. And moreover, many properties of this T lambda and R lambda, because both of these they depend upon lambda, so they depend on lambda, where lambda is a complex number. So we shall study about what lambda is and how does it affect R lambda, T lambda, and so on. And moreover, we'll see in which cases this operator R lambda could be defined for T lambda. It cannot be defined for every value of lambda and for every T lambda. So there are certain conditions onto that. We'll move on to them shortly. So the question is, why lambda is so important and what does it represent? So here you may see that all the operators T lambda and R lambda are defined in such a way that they depend on lambda, right? So that is given in the definition for these operators T lambda and R lambda. So why are we defining those operators in this way, and what does this lambda signify? So here lambda signifies the regular value by the following result. Now we have a new word or new notation definition, which is the regular value. So this number lambda that represents the regular value. Okay, so next we have x, the space. Next we have another definition for regular value. So what does it say? For some space which is not equal to 0, and that is a complex normed space, right? So that means it is defined in complex numbers, and the space is a vector space associated with a norm, right? So then we may define the operator T from the domain of the operator T to the space X, such that lambda is called the regular value of T, which is a complex number when R lambda T exists. This condition holds, which is we are naming this condition to be R1. If the resolvent operator exists, the first condition, it is bounded, the second condition, and it is defined on a set which is dense in X. What was X? X was the set where this operator T was defined. So this resolvent should be defined on a set which is dense in X. So if all these three conditions are satisfied, then we call that complex number to be the regular value of the operator T, right? So this is the definition for regular value. Now based on this definition, regular values, if you collect all the regular values here, if you collect all these regular values which satisfy all the three properties, then that set is denoted as the resolvent set. So this is the definition. So if you collect all the lambdas into a set, and then you name that set as resolvent set, and its notation, for notation we are using row of T. T represents the operator T, and this row represents the resolvent set. So until now what we have studied for the operator T, we firstly have defined T lambda, which is nothing but T minus lambda I. Then we have defined R lambda, which is the inverse of this, which is T minus lambda I inverse. And then corresponding to this lambda, we have defined lambda, which is the regular value. Then based on this regular value, if you collect all such regular values into a set, then that set is known as the resolvent set, right? This was your resolvent operator, or sometimes we just call it to be resolvent, right? So this is what we have studied. Now there is another term related to this resolvent set. So let's proceed and see what is that. So the resolvent set, as I've told you, is a set consisting of all the regular values of T. We have a set known as spectrum set, denoted by sigma of T, which consists of all the spectral values of T. Now what is a spectral value? We'll see that in a moment. But how do you define the spectrum set? If you have the resolvent set with you, then the spectrum set is nothing but the complement of this resolvent set. So from whole of this complex space, if you subtract the resolvent set out of it, then you have the spectrum set, right? So whatever elements, whatever complex numbers they are present in this set, they are known as the spectral values of T. So this is the definition. So what we have done, we are saying that we have partitioned this set of complex numbers into two things. One is known as the resolvent set, consisting of all the regular values, and one is known as this spectrum set, consisting of all the spectral values. So this is what we have done. For a complex set, we have divided or partitioned into two sets. Obviously, these two sets would be disjoint, and when you take the union of these two, they will form the complete complex plane. Right?